Hello, football fans. Ryan here. Now you have a face to put with the voice. You've probably heard my voice on our Friday videos. Here's the play. Now you get to see me for better or for worse. And I am not alone. I'm being joined by another Ryan. So we have two Ryans for the price of one. Ryan, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you.
Hey, my name is Ryan. I'm a sixth year official here in the state of Washington. My primary position is headlines, although I have just started to do some lower level white hat games. And I am excited to talk about some football tonight.
I was there for, if not one of your first, but one of your first, if not the first, one of your first White Hat games. It was totally awesome. You did a great job. I had so much fun. Uh, uh, but you've done more than just that, correct? You did some others?
Yeah, no, this past year I went up to the JV level doing white hat games. So excited to build on that for next year, and continuing to improve. And thank you for those kind words. I know there's a bunch of things that, I need to work on, but really that's what officiating is. No matter what level you're at, it's all about each time getting a little bit better. So I appreciate your help in, getting me there during those. That was actually my very first game as a white hat.
You are welcome, and we all have things to work on. I know, especially I do, and I just want to say, for you, what you've had 6 seasons.
This is my. I just concluded my sixth. Yeah.
Okay. You are light years ahead of where I was at 6 seasons.
Oh,
I'm not saying much, but you've learned a lot in a very short amount of time. And I hope this is okay if I spring this on you. You are a nurse, right?
I am. Yes.
But what's cool is you have a doctorate in nursing. Is that correct?
I do have a doctorate of nursing practice from the University of Massachusetts.
That is so cool. Like I said, I told you this before. I would have that on a shirt and I'd wear that shirt all the time. You have a doctorate in nursing. I just think that is so cool because you don't think of
That's
those
very nice.
things. It's like, oh, I have a pilot's license to conduct a train. I just think it's really cool. I just think it's really cool. So we've got
Well,
more
awesome.
of a scientific, intellectual person, and then we have me. So uh, that'll balance each other out. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
No problem.
We think this is the next step on the channel. Get together, talk about high school football. And that's the great thing about YouTube is you can talk a whole lot about really, really pinpointed subjects. And what's more pinpoint than high school football officiating? So let's kick things off with this was a rule that was emphasized this year, but we've always had it. And it's one that I think caught your attention on our social media platforms, and it caught my attention on some of the comments in some of our videos, and that is helping the runner.
Absolutely. On our social media, we posted we thought it was a pretty non controversial explanation of the point of emphasis of this year. Of note, this is not a new rule for our rule set. This has always been a rule, at least as long as I've been officiating. It was just simply a point of emphasis, probably in response to some things going on the pro level and the college level. And on that social media post, we had dozens, if not hundreds of people disagreeing with the rule or saying that they've never seen that rule called or talking about situations around that rule. So obviously it's something people feel very, very passionate about. I think that when it comes to assisting the runner, I don't think any good official is going to try to micromanage any sort of scrum or pile that happens. We're trying to make these calls big and impactful, things that are affecting the safety or fairness. And so, in my mind, my read of it is that, if we have a player who they are having no other role on that play except trying to pull or push that runner, and they're not trying to otherwise engage the play, that's what it's meant for. But it's not meant for plays where, the pile is sort of moving and it's this big mass of people. That's not why we're going to call that flag. We're going to call the flag when you have, a running back lining up directly behind the quarterback, and that running back's sole purpose on that play is to hit the back of that quarterback and send them forward. Because at that point, not only is it, probably unfair, it's certainly unsafe, especially at the high school level.
I don't have the rule in front of me, and I know some guys, some officials are really sticklers about the verbatim of the rule, but just quickly an overview, it's basically helping the runner's forward progress. So if the quarterback hands off to the running back and they collide, that's not helping the runner. If you push the pile, as you said, that's not helping the runner. Helping the runner is a player on offense helping that runner's forward progress.
Yeah. And even with that point of emphasis, you still don't see it a lot because, as you said, it's this narrow application of it. So it can sound, onerous, but really when we get into the game, it's just emphasizing those specific plays where there's really no other purpose to their action aside from pushing or pulling that runner. I had varsity games every week of this past season. I saw it called once in all of my varsity games. I don't think I saw it in the dozens of sub varsity games I did. Did you see it at all in your season, Ryan?
I had it called once. I was the wing, and it was called, and I really didn't see it. But I later saw the play on video. Shocker there. I was looking at video. And it was only helping the runner for about a yard. And it reminded me of what Dimitro says. Dimitro's the guy who writes the Reading Study Guide.
Yeah.
And he says a lot of times helping the runner is actually the runner's forward progress has stopped. And he says if you can call that and don't call helping the runner. And had I seen it, we may have been able to call that instead of helping the runner, but I was blocked and I didn't see it. So I think that's a really good point too. And it goes back to, it's got to be big. We want it to be huge. And the ones, I think the main one we want to catch is the one we see on Sundays at the pro level, the brotherly shove. I like that much better than the other term. And we saw that. We're recording this the day after the Philadelphia Kansas City game, and they must have done it 3 or 4 times. I know some people really don't like it, but I don't know of any other team that does it as well as they do. It's like they've somehow figured it out. Anywho, so that play has kind of made it popular. It's in vogue now, and that's what we're trying to stop in the high school level. And again, you don't see it a lot. I don't see it a lot. But you mentioned social media on our YouTube channel. We posted, we didn't really post the helping the runner video, but it was mentioned in some videos about the rule book, and some people had some really, really vehement responses like, I'm not calling that, never have, never will, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So this rule, which I think is a little innocuous, has really caused, it's really quite divisive.
Mm-hmm. And I think that sort of touches on a point that we see in high school officiating a lot, is that there are differences between the high school rule set and the pro rule set. And so some of the fans who are maybe only used to seeing that pro or college rule set don't understand some of the idiosyncrasies that happen in high school. And I think that people get very passionate. They like the game of football. And so when there's maybe a different rule set to look at, that can cause some emotions to pop up. I know we see that happen throughout our seasons in the various differences to the rules. One of the biggest ones that I sometimes see this happens probably once every 2 years is pass interference not being an automatic first down in the high school rule set. And so you'll have this 4th and 20 where we have a DPI, and then we have to go explain to the coach that it's 4th and 5, and every fan in that stadium is telling me that I am interpreting that rule wrong, even though I'm pretty sure I'm interpreting that one right.
And I don't think they want it to be an automatic first down or a spot foul, because I think you might see a lot more passing, which means a lot more incompletions, which means a lot longer games.
Yeah, absolutely. There's good reason behind most of these rule differences, including when it comes to, assisting the runner.
And going back to helping the runner, did you get a coach helping? What? That's illegal? When did they change that? Like, coach, I don't think they've changed it. It's been in there as long as I can remember. I love it when coaches do that. When did they change that rule? That's new to me. I don't know they changed that rule. That's
I mean, you'll hear that from a coach, especially maybe some lower level coaches, a couple times a year, and sometimes it's for things like basic rules about eligible receivers and things that have been that way since Otto Graham was playing, but it's still maybe something that they weren't thinking of, so they didn't immediately realize it's been a rule for a while.
Oh, and way to mention Otto Graham. Very good. That is awesome. So that was helping the runner was one of the rules that was emphasized this year. Speaking of this year, we had the big change rule-wise of basic spot enforcement, which I thought went great, very easy, streamlined the game. That was, to me, a home run, if I can mix my idioms. In the state of Washington, that's where Ryan and I officiate. We're with the EFOA, Evergreen Football Officials Association. We're out of Vancouver, Washington. So Southwest Washington. And in the state of Washington this year, or this past season, they moved the umpire to the offensive backfield. Did not come with, it came with some controversy. Some people didn't like it. I know some did. One of our very good umpires was like, yeah, I'm getting kind of bored. I need something new. This is great. I'm going to retire soon anyway, so this is perfect. I'll do this for a couple more years and then I'm out. I know college officials didn't mind it. They were fine. But it was met with some pushback. How did it go for you this year, Ryan, moving the umpire to the offensive backfield?
As primarily a wing, I would say some of the biggest challenges were around the line of scrimmage, because we have to remember that umpire went from the defensive backfield, where they can sort of step up and help sort of keep an eye on the line of scrimmage, to the offensive backfield. So I would say the biggest gap, and the thing that we're still working on, is pass plays with an eligible man downfield, because you used to have that really good sort of anchor there from the umpire, and now it's sort of relied on the wings. Now, when we do 5-man mechanic and varsity games, I do feel like there's some degree of ability for us to, switch off and sort of make sure we're covering the field in those keys. When you're doing a 4-man or 4-person sub-varsity game, and we have somebody going down the field, how are we going to keep an eye on that line of scrimmage?
And if I can just jump in here, we're talking umpire in the offensive backfield at all levels. So not just Friday nights for varsity games, but at all levels. Sub-varsity, we also do middle school and youth football, our association. So at all levels, we had the umpire in the offensive backfield. So just like you said, on 4-man, a lot of space we're giving up with that. A lot of area we have to cover now with just 2 guys, the 2 wings, because the umpire's in the offensive backfield. Go ahead.
Yeah, and one of the things that we noticed as an association was just how much more movement the umpires had to do. Because you need to get that ball set and then get all the way back to be in position on the offensive side of the ball. What that led to when it comes to wings and back judges is we were, spotting the ball sometimes where we normally wouldn't, because it didn't make sense for pace of play if the umpire's all the way across the field for us to not spot it. So it did create a lot more teamwork, which I thought was sort of a unique and fun challenge. And as a wing, you don't get to spot the ball that often officially. So it was a unique and fun challenge. But it was definitely something that I think challenges umpires at the high school level to be way more active than they've been in past years.
So a couple of thoughts that I've had. I had these from the beginning of the year and at the end of the year as well. So they've been persistent. One, or I thought it worked okay, as long as the teams didn't want to play fast and there was no shenanigans. The game didn't get heated. If there was good sportsmanship and they weren't playing fast, it worked okay. But when they went fast or they had shenanigans, then there was some holes, right? Because we weren't there to break it up. There were times when, I think something's going on, but I can't really hear it. I can't really tell. One game, it was hot, at least hot for this part of the world, and the 2 teams were running the ball 6, 7, 8 yards a clip up the middle of the field, and the umpire was 10, 12, 15 yards in the offensive backfield, running up, spotting the ball, and then running back. And he was gassed. And I remember I was delaying blowing in the whistle just so I could give this guy a couple of seconds because I could tell he was gassed. And there's really not much any of us can do because they kept running up the middle. And I was trying to give him a couple more seconds, and the quarterback, because you know how some of these quarterbacks, they just snap the ball. So he snapped the ball, and then it was a big thing. But yeah, he's like, he even, and this is a very good umpire. He's like, I was almost done. I was almost done. And we had a doubleheader. He did not have to work the doubleheader, but he told us, yeah, I couldn't have worked that doubleheader. All because of the amount of running, because these teams were fast, and they kept gaining 6, 7, 8 yards up the middle. So the back judge really couldn't help, and neither could the wings help as well. And I was awful at spotting the ball. I always forgot. So I couldn't help him at all. So that was a case of talking about official having to run more. Also, and the frustrating thing for me is it made us, it instantly made us have to be, I don't want to say younger, but more athletic. And if you've seen us, we're not athletic. And it doesn't really play to our strengths. So that was a little frustrating too. It seems like, well, this doesn't really go with how we're constructed. But there was some people thought it was for insurance purposes. At the conference where they announced this officially, they made no mention of that. So I don't know. You would like to think if it was for insurance purposes, they just would have told us that, and then we could be like, okay, we're all in the same boat. But they didn't. So I don't know. It's not going away. So we're just going to have to deal with it. I think it's a precursor to having 6 of us, a 6-man crews. In Washington State, we have 5-man crews. So I think they're looking forward to 6-man crews, but we can barely field 5-man crews on a Friday night. So I don't know what we're going to do when we get 6-man, but I guess we cross that bridge when we get to it.
Ryan, do you think other states, because it's my understanding that I believe there's now 3 states, us, Oregon, and Minnesota, if I'm not mistaken, who have moved the umpire to the backfield. Do you foresee this gaining traction throughout the country?
I would think not. I worked a camp, and there was a mentor at the camp from Tennessee, and they said they tried it, it didn't work, and they went back to it. So I don't know. I guess if the insurance companies get involved, then yes, but I don't know. And I'm a big proponent of high school football is high school football. We don't necessarily need to make it like other levels. It's kids. And I think you lose something by not having that official in the defensive backfield. I understand it's a fast game and kids are getting faster and bigger all the time, but they are still kids. And I just think, I don't know, that maybe that umpire is better in the defensive backfield, that position. I don't know. But like I said, I don't think it's going away. I don't think it's going away. So I think we're stuck with it.
As I guess sort of a happy change with it, though, I worked with a very veteran umpire, and he got to call, I believe, the first roughing the passer penalty that he had called, in 20 plus years. Because as the person in the offensive backfield, the quarterback, when that rolls to your side, they're responsible for. And so they got to call that, and he had a smile on his face, and he goes, "Hey, did I do that right?" And so it's pretty funny to see them, sort of embrace that new role after, being an umpire for so long in the defensive backfield.
I know who you're talking about, and I saw the video, and he totally botched it. He got it totally wrong.
Really?
No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But I do know who you're talking about. I remember him saying that. He was very proud.
Yes.
But I haven't seen it. I'm sure he did a great job. So, yeah, helping the runner. Umpire in the defensive backfield, very new for Washington State. What do you think? Do you like it? Would you like to see your state go to that? If you are an official in Washington State, did you like it? Did you not like it? Please let us know in the comments section below. And also, while you're at it, tell us what you think of helping the runner. It was a point of emphasis for 2023, so please let us know there. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Ryan. Thanks for having me. And check out our social media pages as well as the excellent YouTube that Ryan does.
Oh, thank you. Very kind. All right, everybody. We'll see you soon. Thanks. If you're already a high school football official, have a great season.
If you're not a high school football official, now is the perfect time to become one. Contact the Evergreen Football Officials Association and we'll help you make it happen. Until next time, we're the EFOA, making good officials better.